wall. Now reports say they're sticking with their $1.3 billion offer that does not include a wall. So how does this thing end?
President Trump has to level with the American public. Remember, he said that Mexico was going to pay for it. So the fact that we're even quibbling about who's going to pay for it, the U.S. taxpayer obviously, is what he has in mind. Already he's moving off that promise. Look, in 2013, when the Democrats controlled the Senate, they passed a immigration bill, comprehensive bill, that had $46 billion in funding, $8 billion for a wall, a fence along the southern border. And honestly, Eric, I think if we can move off this kind of talk about wall, fence, you know, this notion that somehow Democrats are for open borders is something that's just, it's an irritant. I think if the president just said, look, I saw what the Democrats did when they were in control of the Senate, and there were a lot of good things there. Let's adopt some of that. And I think the Democrats would be prepared to meet him halfway, as they would on infrastructure and other issues. Well, but I just think it's kind of the hard line that he's taking is what's making it hard to compromise.
Well, Beverly, I mean, you could say the Democrats are taking a hard line because it's the president who is dialing back. First it was $5 billion for the wall. The latest proposal was $2.5 billion. Do you think there can be some deal, some compromises? Mick Mulvaney has suggested there can be when you're dealing with the amount of money spent, and perhaps throw the Dreamers in.
I think that there can be some type of compromise. I think the fact that you see some of the Democrats saying that they're going to release something later today, I want to see how much money is going to be in that. What exactly are they bringing to the table? And I think that people do want there to be compromise on this. I think if this shutdown continues, I actually think it's worse for Democrats, because something that most Americans agree on is that we need border security in this country. Even Democrats agreed on that. Richard mentioned how many of them voted for a fence in 2006 and in some past years. So this is something that I think will go poorly for Democrats if they don't find some type of compromise on border security. And I actually think what Democrats really want to do is move very quickly to investigating the president and then, in their mind, hopefully impeaching him. So I think it's trying to pave the way for what really the next 2 years is going to be about for the House.
Well, Beverly, according to this one report, they're sticking with the $1.3 billion. So, Beverly, that would mean they're not compromising at all.
I don't think that they're moving enough. They're going to have to raise that, I think, a little bit more if we're going to get the border security that we need. Let's not forget that when you talk to border security agents, they're talking about a fence being, or even a wall being, extremely needed. I'm glad that we're also talking about the combination of technology. It doesn't have to be an entire wall. But I think when people see what's going on with the caravans coming across, I think most people agree that we need something. I'm just not sure that the dollar amount they're coming up with is enough. And by the way, when did Democrats all of a sudden become concerned about budgets? They're usually the party that's willing to spend a lot of money, and for some reason they're not budging in this area.
Richard, listen, can I just say something, Eric?
Yeah.
John Kelly said, to be honest, it's not a wall. We moved off the wall a long time ago. So whether it's you or Beverly or anybody saying, well, we need money for a wall, John Kelly, who ran the Department of Homeland Security, he says it's not a wall.
And then the president tweeted out like a picture of this fence with the spikes on the top of it but there's something I want to add. Richard, I want you to riddle me this. Sure. Beverly just mentioned 2006. The Democrats supported and voted for, and George W. Bush signed into law, the Secure Fence Act of 2006. You know who supported that? Schumer, Hillary Clinton,
Absolutely.
Senator Barack Obama. Here's what the then senator for Illinois said about, well, building a huge barrier. You know, you can't Star Trek transport yourself through that. Here's exactly what the senator then said about this.
The bill before us will certainly do some good. It will authorize some badly needed funding for better fences and better security along our borders, and that should help stem some of the tide of illegal immigration in this country.
We've got 20 seconds. Is that hypocritical, Richard?
Again, in 2013, every Democrat in the Senate and 14 Republicans, including noted liberals like Lindsey Graham and Marco Rubio and Orrin Hatch, voted for $46 billion in spending for immigration reform, including $8 billion for a fence.
5 seconds.
And I would just say,
they put way too much in that immigration bill. If it was purely about border security, they would have been able to move forward with it. But they're always trying to push in other immigration reform that Republicans don't want.
Then blame